Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Q&A Wednesday. Jessica is here. Alicia is here. I saw her click on. Let's see. I'm going to put this link in our Haven Discord. Give me just a second. Q&A time. Woohoo! All right. Let me open up our questions over here on Discord. Q&A. I hope everybody's having a good day. It's been a wild week with these transits going on, with these like lunar shifts happening. It's been intense. Here's Felicia. I thought I saw you pop on. All right. Let's get going on our questions. All right. Discord. This says, Necromancy. I would like to learn more about the magic of necromancy, but I would like to do it ethically. Awesome. Can you give me a bit of background info? All I really know is what Hollywood portrays, different types, where to start, and how to communicate safely. Because of the lore, where I am from, and my current location, I don't fuck with things like Ouija boards to try and communicate with the dead. Okay, cool. Love this question. So for context, this person is in semester. If you are new here, I don't read out who asked each question in case they're watching and they need to be stealth or incognito. Um, if you're here and you want to banter with me back and forth, that's fine. It will not list your name on the replay, just in case you're curious about it. But to give everybody context, this person is a semester student and asking about necromancy. So let's take this one step at a time. Necromancy, necromancy, right? Necro at the beginning as a prefix is all about death and dying, right? We have like necrotic tissue. That is necro means dead. And then mancy is channeling, right? So cartomancy is reading, or chiromancy is reading palms, right? Things like what else? Is it Ossomancy? Also, I think it's Ossomancy is reading bones. I think it's also. Yeah. Um, Mancy is the channeling of, right? So when we talk about necromancy, we are talking about the channeling of ancestors, of people who have passed, of people who are in the ether, right? So necromancy, divination of the dead, seeking wisdom from your ancestors, seeking guidance, seeking answers, whatever kind of wisdom you're seeking, but you're seeking somebody who has passed. Um, this person, I almost said your name. This person says, all I really know is what Hollywood portrays. Hollywood is interesting, right? Because there's always an element of truth, but we have a lot of, especially when it comes to witching, but necromancy specifically, there's a lot of spectacular CGI and things that can set young witches especially up for disappointment, because if that's your only context and you expect, a ghost to fly out of your scrying ball, right? That you're going to be sorely disappointed, right? That's not, I've done this for a long time. That's not how this works. But when we're looking at Hollywood, we look at things like zombies. We look at things like controlling the dead. We look at even, non-witch movies, but like Young Frankenstein, right? That's a comedy. Reanimating someone who died. There's lots of this in Hollywood, but not a lot of it is true. There's an element of truth in a lot of it, but not most of it. So there's different types of necromancy, and you can venerate your ancestors. You can make an ancestor altar. I have an ancestor altar in my bedroom. That's important. If altars are something that's important to you, that's a really good way to honor people in your world that have passed. I have a handful of people on my ancestor altar. There's a great book. If you're at Haven, there's a great book on our book list that has to do with grieving as a witch. It's a phenomenal read if you are adding somebody as an ancestor to your altar. That can be a process. And so I have a book that I recommend if you're walking through that. But there's, more traditional avenues other than venerating your ancestors, making altars for your ancestors. There's mediumship, there's dream work, there's literally asking, using your vibes, right? Your vessel, your voice, your vision, asking your vibes to channel that information and receive that information from your ancestors. You can just ask out loud. There are sometimes when I will ask my grandparents out loud, hey, can you help me find this? Or the other day, yesterday, I was making dinner for my husband and I'm stirring a cauldron, literal cast iron cauldron on my stove of pasta sauce. And my dad's mother, my paternal grandmother, used to always say, Italian, so she did this, right? Always say, basil for pasta sauce, oregano for pizza sauce. Always. And so I was standing downstairs and they had oregano and basil in one, one in each hand. And I was like, all right, Grandma, I know. Basil for pasta sauce, oregano for pizza sauce. So even those kind of moments, right? You are talking to your ancestors, you're building connection. It doesn't have to be formal mediumship to be connection, right? It doesn't have to be a seance to be necromancy. It doesn't have to be um, scrying and asking your ancestors information, right? That doesn't have to be the only way necromancy shows up. There's lots of different ways. Um, I would honestly start with ancestor altar work. You are a semester student, the person that asked this. We are covering protections and altars on Friday and next week. So I think it's a great time. It's very aligned if that's something, tap into yourself. If that's something that you want to do is build an ancestor altar, you will have a lot of resources the next two classes coming up for that. You can also do dream work. I know that you asked, or you're somebody who likes dreams, likes dream divination. Ask your ancestors to show up in your dreams. That's a really great way to get started. Um, there's a lot to be said for safe communication, right? We're going to get into this, especially in the next two calls in semester. You want to make sure that you're setting clear boundaries with how you're connecting. Only your ancestors can reach you, right? I only want to and am willing to speak to named ancestor, right? My grandma, let's say her name was Carol. It wasn't, but let's pretend I would say I only am open to speaking to my grandmother Carol at this time. I'm not open to speaking to any other spirits, entities, deities, except for my grandmother Carol, right? Like that's how you would be specific. Since we haven't covered protections yet, I would operate that way for now. Um, you want to make sure that if you don't want your vibes to be the thing that communicates and you're not going to sit and just be present with yourself, you can do like automatic writing. You can write down your dreams in your journals. You can speak aloud. I would recommend, though, that you have some sort of tactile way to anchor the communication if you are having it in a way that's coming into your vessel. If your body's feeling it, if you're hearing it, if you're seeing something, document it. Write it down, record yourself a voice memo, make a quick sketch if that's in alignment for you. If use AI. Um, sorry if you can hear my familiar. My cat is trying desperately to get into my office and failing. Um, but all that to say, there's lots of different methods. There's lots of ways to connect to people who have passed. If Ouija boards are not in your practice, that's okay. They are I have one. I rarely use it, right? For me, my gifts show up as mediumship, and I am mostly a vision and a voice um, vibe person. And I am a vessel person too, but especially vision and voice. So that's how my vibes show up. So I don't use tarot. You guys know how much I love tarot. I don't use tarot for necromancy. I don't use tarot for divination. It just drops in, especially in those moments when it's just here. I got to write it down so that I remember, okay, grandma said this, or auntie said this, or we had a conversation about this. I'll even like, if I'm burning smudge or if I'm making incense or something, I will even keep the ashes from that incense and put that on my ancestor altar around the ancestor that I was talking to as just a way to like give gratitude and mark that we had a conversation. That's really important. um, your ancestors take a lot of care and a lot of pride in being able to talk to you from the other side. I mean, people who have passed in general, but especially your ancestors, they really care. They really care. Most of the time it's a positive care, right? We do have some ancestors who are just curmudgeons in the ether, and that's fine. We love them, but good boundaries. But for the most part, on the whole, right, your ancestors are are happy to hear from you, happy to talk to you, wanting to connect with you, giving you love, looking out for you, putting people and opportunities in your path that can support you and help you grow, things like that. They're great to connect to. So for the person that asked this question, as we continue through semester and we keep going through learning our vibes, it will become easier for you to bridge the intuitive nudges that you get and focus them more into necromancy, focus them more into people who have passed, more into specific ancestors or groups of ancestors or lineage on one side of your genetics or other, things like that. The more you practice and flex those muscles, the more you can become finely tuned. And that's all mediumship is. It's the ability to connect intuitively and then finely tune it for a specific group of people. It's like marketing. You're training your algorithm, right? I don't want to talk to anybody alive. I want to talk to only someone deceased and only this person with this name who has my genetics, right? You got to get filtered and filtered and filtered till you get to that one little perfect ancestor that you want to talk to. It just takes practice. Okay. Um, yeah, that's what I would say for that practice. I mean, if you want to do an ancestor altar, that's where I would start if that's aligned for you. If it's not, you can, honor them and build connection by wearing jewelry, by meditating with pictures of them, by celebrating their birthday, bake something on their birthday. My child's stepdad passed last December, and on his birthday, his first birthday in the ether this May, I made cupcakes. We made cupcakes. We gave them out to all of our neighbors. It's Matthew's birthday. We're celebrating because it felt like an important way to honor him, and he loved sweet stuff. So while he's not here while he's in the ether, he's not here in the physical. We still got to commemorate and build that connection with him. So I think that, as long as you can foster that in a way that feels good for you, that's what's the most important. Make it feel natural. If you've never done altars before, it's not difficult. It might feel clunky at first, but we're going to walk through it in the next 2 weeks in semester. So you'll have loads of support with it. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Oh my God. I'm laughing because are you on our call? Let me see. Participants. You are. Okay, perfect. So I'm not gonna say whose question this is. But it says, can we talk about why we should not put our own menstrual blood in a bottle and give it to our lover? Please, I know it's over the top help. This person is a council grad, okay? So without naming you, if you want to pop in the chat, you can chat back and forth to me. That's fine. I will not name who you are. I know you're here. My first question for you, knowing who you are, is what about the prior advice has not worked? Because I went through council. I saw this question this morning, and I went through council, and we have talked about this, my love, 5 times. 5 separate instances of the same question. And I have given you the same advice 5 times. I'm wondering, did you take the advice and it didn't work? Are we not implementing? Are we just not sure? Are we second guessing ourselves? What about the prior advice has not worked? If you can't write back, that's fine. For everybody else on this call and publicly who's listening, do not put your blood in spells. Do not put your blood in spells. Do not put your blood in spells. Like this is me holding the sides of your face, telling you with so much love, do not put your blood in spells. Don't do it. Please don't do it. It is so fucking hard to undo, you guys. The most magical substance in the earth, or most magical substance in the world is blood. Second to blood is iron, and blood is sacred because it has iron and your DNA, right? So when we attach something with our DNA, hair, spit, semen, blood, sweat, it does not matter. When we have something that has our DNA in it and it gets added into a spell, we attach ourselves to that spell. And you will attach yourself with 1,000 cords versus 1 cord if you use blood versus breath Okay, they're still gonna tie you. But blood is like in council, which is our baneful program, I literally told everybody in council, the average witch will never use their blood in spell work. The witches that have taken and graduated council, my council graduates, y'all maybe will use your blood in spells twice your entire life. Maybe. We do not do this. This is the same as handing your kid's social security number to someone. This is the same as handing your bank accounts to someone you don't know. Your bank account numbers, your passwords, all your shit to somebody you don't. Take me and do anything you want with it. Why would we do that? I don't care how much you love this person. I don't care how much you adore them. I don't care how much you want to be connected to them. There are other ways. There are so many other ways to do it that do not tie you into a forever long bond with this person that they can send. It's a tube. They can send shit back to you through that. Your DNA is a tracker. They know how to get to you. They know how to find you. If they want to send you stuff, it is GPS coordinates to you. That's why I don't tell my hairdresser I'm a witch. They're in my hair. That's why I don't let my house cleaner anywhere in my office. All my shit is literally locked under lock and key. Like, you cannot get to my vials of blood. You cannot get to my people's hair samples that I have. You cannot get, like, we protect that stuff so fiercely. So if you want to chat, you can come off mute. You let me know, but I will tell you, you already know the answer to this question. You might not like the answer to the question that I gave you, and that's valid. But I'm curious if you followed the advice and it didn't work, or if you're questioning because you maybe aren't sure or you're doubting yourself. Do you want me to? Okay, I'll take you off mute. Yep. I didn't want to out you. I can kind of hear you.
Never mind. I'm
Oh,
taking off
got you.
the,
Yep.
sorry, the earphones. I'm trying to figure this out. Loud. Sorry, my voice is still COVID voice.
All
My hair
good,
is still
girly.
COVID.
The
My
raspy
hair
is
is my
sexy.
hair is
Own it.
bedhead right now. Not even brushed my hair.
And you're
Um,
still here. Look at you. Love it.
oh my God. Yeah, I had to set an alarm because I've been sleeping a lot.
Good. You
So
should be projector. Get
yeah, I know. Sit your ass down, bitch. Um,
with
yeah,
love.
I guess my question wasn't like why we shouldn't, because you already for that, is how do I fix this? And I think it's a question that I put it on there because it is really important, and maybe other witches also don't know about it. So because it's already been an experience for me, I wanted to share that so that maybe others don't make the same mistake.
Got you.
But I definitely know want to know how to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I need to fix it.
once somebody has your blood and you have that oh shit moment, what do? Right? Maybe you didn't know. Maybe somebody's watching and they're like, oh my God, I thought that I made a blood pact with somebody. I thought it was fun. Like now we're not friends anymore. What do I do? Right? I get it. Okay. So I get where you're coming from. Thank you, Leb. One of the things I think that's important is a prevention, right? Now you know better, so we don't do that going forward. But when you are undoing this, ultimately, I can give you pointed advice because I'm very aware of the situation. We've been talking about this for months. But for the global, if you're watching this, book a one-on-one with me. Book a one-on-one with me because I need to know what you did. I need to know your ingredients. I need to know your process for your spell work. I need to know who else was involved. I need to know your timeline, what you have tried, what you have seen, what you have not seen, what you wanted when you originally did it, what the status of your relationship is now. Like, there are so many questions that I would have for you. So I want to say that because what I'm about to tell this human sounds very pointed, and that's only because I have months of backstory. Okay. This is you when you're watching this and you're like, I don't know what to do. Just book a one-on-one with me. Message me on Facebook, message me on YouTube, message me wherever. I'll send you the link for a one-on-one. We'll talk about it. Okay, we'll figure it out. It's not undoable. Okay, nothing is irreversible. This is one of those, like a black walnut spell that is like very fucking hard to undo. We can undo it though. We can undo it. So because I know who this is, and I know your story, have you retrieved it from him or does he still have it? You're still
Uh,
unmuted, girly. You can
oh,
just
okay. Yeah, he still hasn't.
okay.
Um,
And is
because
there no way to get it back?
um, so because he's such a nomad Pisces wanderer, and he doesn't even live in the same city. It's like whenever he rolls into LA, that's when I see him. So I don't even
Do
know
you have
when
a way to
he's.
contact him?
Yes.
So you could ask him, like, hey, bro, can you send that back to me?
Wouldn't that be weird though? Like, hey, can you send back the rose oil I gave
Oof.
you?
Okay, you send him blood in a vial. Is asking for it back weird? Do you
Well,
hear
no,
yourself?
no.
Text
Well,
the man. Hey, I need that shit for my face. Please send it back. Does
it
he
was
know it's blood?
no, it was a gift.
Okay, perfect. Even better. Okay, that is honestly, girl, I want to squeeze you because I'm so proud of you. Thank the gods he does not know. Okay, so it's even easier. Hey, I made that. It's super sentimental. I wanted it for my fate. Whatever. You know the dude. Whatever. Little texty text. Hey, you know what I'm really? I'd like to refill that for you. I have something else I want to put in it. Can you send it back so I can send it to you? I don't care if you have to flirt your way through it and get it back.
You know, it would be easier if he would actually fucking text, but he'll just,
Oh,
I don't
call
even,
him.
I, okay, I don't even know if like that's ghosting. I think it's like bench warming is what they call it, where it's like there's highs and then there's lows. And so it's like, that's what I'm working on right now to like even get the communication. It's like,
I love how creative you're being to get out of calling him.
oh no, I've called him.
I
Motherfucker won't
want
answer.
your Aries fire to call this
Motherfucker
man
won't
and be
answer.
like, listen to me. I need you to send that back to me. And then I want you to send me a picture, or if it's a text, send me a screenshot. Okay, babe, no problem. I'll put it in the mail tomorrow. Mwah. And then guess what all your worry gets to do? Woo, 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 woo. Down the drain. You don't have to worry about it.
If
He
he
doesn't know it's
if he
blood.
answers if he answers the fucking phone, yes. Like I saw it the other day, I was like,
Thanks,
hey,
girl.
I
You
was
are a
like, hey, I
witch.
hate you fucking like looking at my texts and then they're red, but you don't answer. I'm like, hello?
So put the man in a honey jar and then call him.
Okay.
You know how to do this. You're a
No, I know.
graduate of cancel.
Okay. So
In a
now that
honey
I'm like,
jar.
no, now that I'm regulated and now I'm a little better from COVID, now I'm like, now I can jump into my spells. Before I felt like a fucking
Magically
crazy person.
regulated. We do magic regulated. I swear to God, you guys, Haven's gonna be the poster child for regulated nervous system because we
Yes, it
only do
is. It
magic. Yeah,
is.
we
I
only
actually
do
read,
magic regulated.
yes, I literally read my affirmations and I'm paying attention to them. And I'm also doing a fucking huge course on inner child and shadow work, and it is
Oh,
kicking my ass, dude. It is
good. We
kicking
had
my
questions about
ass.
shadow work today.
Yeah. So,
Good
and
for
it's an
you.
everyday thing. You can't
Good.
escape it. Every single day you have a fucking post with 4 questions. So you
Yep.
can't escape it. It's
Yeah.
like, and you get called out if you don't do your questions.
We have that in
So
semester, but
anyway,
it doesn't start till
one
next
last
week.
thing. Okay. Next question about that is, okay, so you said call do oh yes, the honey jar. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've already done the honey jar, but like I said, the honey got um like crackly or hard. It's not, so should I do another one?
Did you watch the replay from last week? I don't
Last
know if you
week.
did. We talked about it when jars leak or when they get like crusty, right? I don't know if that might be helpful for you just as a resource. Last week's Q&A. I will tell
Oh,
you
okay.
if you did a honey jar on him prior, it was probably for y'all's relationship, right? It wasn't for this specific, right? Okay, perfect. So yeah, I would do another one. Diagram it out. You're gonna want you know, I mean, it doesn't have to be a honey jar, but you want something sweetening, right? You want him to be sympathetic magic. You want him to be a yes for what you're asking, right? So
And
drawing
communication.
powder,
And
honey,
communication.
yeah, drawing powder, honey, maple syrup, whatever. You want it to be a sweetening spell, right? Because you want him to be receptive, right? So we're gonna help
Hmm.
him be open. But yeah, as
Yeah.
far as what the procedure looks like, you can do it however you want to. I would diagram it out, write it out, That'll help you regulate too while you plan it. Make sure you have all your bases covered because you know how to do that. If you need help, you can put that in the Enneagram channel in Discord. But I would, yeah, diagram it out and make it specifically for him to be him to return your bottle, him to return your vial. That's your intention. And so you can make that happen in your point five with whatever kind of spell you want, but make the intention big enough, not that it's just about communication. Your end result is you want that vial back. Okay. Bueno.
Okay.
Awesome. Good question. All right, I will
Thank
remute you
you.
since I know you're walking around. You're welcome. Okay. Identifying negative energies at whom? What is what is an effective way to identify negative energy or a negative entity like a demon in someone's home, especially if we get an olfactory smell around the time noticing the energy slash entity. So we talked about this. This person is a council grad and they're asking for a refresh, which we talked about this on a side chat. And I was like, still put it in the Q&A because I want to talk about this. I love it. So energy signs for negative entities, and I'm being broad right now because I teach this in council. If this is something that you're like, fuck yes, I need to learn more about this. This is amazing. Come take council. Take semester because it's a prereq, and then take council. Okay, we will talk about it. It's amazing. But energy signs that you have, negative spirits, entities, whatever, things like sudden temperature drops, cold spots, right? Feeling drained after being in certain spaces, especially if there's spaces that you spend a lot of time in and they don't normally drain you. If you go to the nurse's office and you're like, ugh, every time it feels like ass in here, then that's not that unusual, right? That's just that place. But if it's your bedroom and you're like, man, I normally am at peace here, and this corner of my bedroom really like maybe you're a vessel person, it just feels icky, or maybe you hear static, or maybe you are a vision person and you get a mental image of a black cloud or a gray cloud or something like that, right? Your vibes are going to talk to you however they talk to you. Those are some of the ways that it can happen. Temperature drops, feeling drained, seeing things like dark shadows, mist that you can't see through, especially like opaque ones. Sometimes they will even look like black construction paper cutouts, like 2D black paper cutouts. You can tell they're 2D. They almost look like like Sesame Street cutouts or something. It's very strange. Um, the way that they look can give you clues into what they are. I would say for everybody watching, not this person specifically, because you've taken counsel and I know you know how to talk to entities of all kinds. But for everyone watching this, do not interact. Do not interact with anything before you know what it is, and do not ask it what it is because you can't trust it to be honest, and you can't trust that you're hearing it clearly. So, what I usually recommend is you build your intuitive connection to your guides. And then once that is reliable and easily receivable, and there's reciprocity there, you guys have a relationship, you can use that relationship and say, okay, guide team, who the fuck is this that's showing up in my house? And they can translate for you so you're not making direct contact because you don't know what you're connecting with. This person does, but you typically, people don't know what they're connecting with. And then you're having a one-on-one conversation with a demon or a djinn or a PK manifestation or somebody's servitor or the Fae, right? Like a quick way to invite a bunch of chaos. We don't want that. So just be careful who you're talking to. Make sure you have good boundaries. Another thing is like your electronics malfunctioning all of a sudden. And I'm not talking like the funky shit that Mercury retrograde can kind of like throw at people. Tech can get weird during Merc retro. Um, but I'm talking more like your cell phone battery goes from 80% to 2 whenever you walk into this room, like in 4 minutes. Like weird stuff. Your watch battery dies over and over and over and over again. Things like that. Your electronics start malfunctioning. Pets avoiding specific areas, your Wi-Fi being funky. Not, I mean, we want to rule out the mundane first, right? But like I'll tell you guys, was it the first night of council this last round? I think it was the first night of council this last round. My internet got interrupted like 2 times. I could not get back on. I could not get on my phone. We had like a whole freaking class full of new students, first class, and I had to exercise the router. So the next We didn't have an entire the entire rest of the time of council, it didn't have a single hiccup. So I was like, that's not normal. So now that's a joke at Haven that I got to exercise the router before classes. Um, Other things you might see for negative entities are like objects moving. That's something that comes from Hollywood that's actually legit. Slamming cabinets, stuff getting thrown off of or batted off of shelves. Almost like imagine a cat, right? When your cat does like little tap, 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 and you're like, don't fucking knock that over. And then they look at you when they do it, right? It's that kind of like little motion where your stuff goes flying. That kind of stuff. It's very hallmark of negative entities or lower vibrational entities. Um, Smell, if you are somebody who has a clear sense of smell, there's often smells that go along with different types of entities. This is something we cover in council pretty in depth. Sulfur or rotten eggs is pretty hallmark of demonic energy. Smelling like rotting garbage or trash is hallmark of a djinn haunting. Fae will do funny thing, like funny. I'm putting funny in air quotes because it's not actually funny, but they're tricksters, right? So the Fae, which aren't always negative but can be, will like to hide shit, like your car keys, your wallet, your credit card, whatever. They move things and think it's so funny. And usually, if you have Fae in your house, you can address them and say like, "Okay, I understand. Like, can you please return it? I will lighten up, or I'll be a little bit more joyful. Ha ha, I get it. Funny trick. Please give me my shit back." Right? So trust your intuition. Ultimately, when you're looking at your question here, what's an effective way to identify? It depends on what you're sensing. It depends on what you're feeling. It depends on how you are encountering this spirit or whatever this. And I'm using spirit as an umbrella term, whatever this entity is. Smoke cleanse, go through your cleansing. If you're in semester, we just did that literally yesterday. If you are a grad, you have tons of resources from whatever program you graduated because we cover clearing in all of them. Different things to clear work better for certain entities. This person that asked this is in council, so look at your notes, I would say. Week 3, week 2, check in with your notes there. Next question. And we're at 10:30. We're making good time, you guys. Okay, this one comes from a current enrollee, a current semester student, and it's about freezer spells. It says, do you have to recharge your freezer spell when you freeze someone and intend to leave them in there, or is one time good enough? I love this. So generally, for a freezer spell, one-time casting is sufficient. I don't usually feed my freezer spells because the freezing is what sustains them. Um, this can be, you guys will get a little bit of like insight if you're a new student or if you're new to me. This will give you a little bit of insight into how I teach counsel. If you really want to be a prick and you, let's say, let me grab a jar. Let's say that you have what is this? This is a honey jar. We're just going to pretend that it's not. Let's say that you have a freezer jar and it's in the freezer and the person that's in here we're freezing. So we put them in there and the whole thing freezes, right? If I want to be a big prick, I can pull this out of the freezer and I can let it defrost just a little bit. And then I can put it back in the freezer and let it freeze. And then I could pull it out and let it unfreeze a little bit. And then I could put it back in the freezer. So what's happening to our person when we do that? We've stopped their behavior or we've stopped them from contacting us. We've stopped them from thinking about us, whatever the reason is they're in the freezer. Let's say we stop them from thinking about us. Well, if I pull it out of the freezer, I'm going to pop into their thoughts again. And they're going to be, oh my God, what's Teal doing? Oh my gosh, I got to think about her. Oh my God, let's go look her up online. And then guess what? I put it back in the freezer. Now they can't get to any of my shit. And I'll pull it out. Oh man, I thought about her again. That reminds me of her. What is she doing? Back in the freezer. Oh, I can't get to her. Right? So you really want to be mean. That's a fun way to mess with somebody. But you don't, I mean, fun, I'm putting in quotes. You don't have to do that. You don't have to feed a freezer jar. Typically putting it in the freezer once is enough because the freezing sustains it. So as far as feeding, I don't think it's necessary. Sometimes I will, like, let's say, I won't tell you who's in my freezer, but one of the people in my freezer, sometimes when I think of them and I want to reinforce the original intention, I will go back to my grimoire, look at the exact intention that I made for that jar. I will go downstairs into my freezer, pull them out, and I will look at their jar and I will repeatedly say at it the incantation. You are prevented from seeing me, you're prevented from da 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 da. And maybe I put a behavior, maybe I put a relationship, a person, a roadblock, whatever, into the freezer. I will re-familiarize myself with that intention and speak it again over, almost adding, but that's really just a way for me to ground and discharge that energy back into a place where I know it's going to be held versus me feeding the spell. One comes from just a byproduct of feeling, the other one comes from an intention to feed it. So that's a little bit of a difference. Um, Ultimately, the biggest thing I think is documentation, right? You guys know, students, you know that I am anal retentive about documenting because you need to make sure that you know what you did if it works. And if it didn't work, you also need to make sure that you know what you did so you can know what you need to change or know what worked really well and was successful. We want to be efficient. If you know something works, why not repeat it? Yeah. We want to make sure we do that. Um, let's see. Next question. Shadow work. What exactly is it? A little something small. Thank you for putting this in here. This is somebody who is one of my mods, and they are a council grad and they're in semester. So shadow work is I'm gonna put this jar back, is a psychological and spiritual practice, and I would say emotional practice too, of examining your unconscious self, your shadow self, your repressed self. So I would say I happen to have a tarot deck close to me. Let's make this interactive. If I was going to pull a tarot card, this is just a standard Rider-Waite deck. Let's see what pops out. Okay, the Chariot. Cool. So the Chariot upright, we know, means like forward movement, getting things done, accomplishment. Let's go. Forward movement, right? We are charging forward into something. Shadow, this is one way of experiencing a shadow. Chariot reverse means you need to slow the fuck down before you go into something you are not prepared to walk into. We put the brakes on. Something needs to be looked at before something is imbalanced before you got to address it before you get there. So that's a shadow side, right? Or sometimes I call this the back of the hand. You can be a really, really gracious, really accommodating person. The back of the hand is that you might let people walk all over you. You might struggle with boundaries, right? You're really accommodating and really generous, and that's beautiful. And it might be really hard for you to draw lines in the sand or to see what you're worth or to say no, right? So shadow is just another way of saying the polarity opposite of something. And typically when we say shadow, we're thinking unconscious, something that we're not aware of initially, something that is an aspect of our personality that likely we're not proud of, right? Because it's the opposite facet of something that we are proud of. So shadow work, I think originally Carl Jung came up with the term shadow work, but I'm guessing, I'm not 100%, don't quote me. But I'm pretty sure he created like the original shadow work term and created the idea. His body of work is really about how we have parts of ourselves that we hide. We have parts of ourselves that we deny. And like I said, it's easy to be a people pleaser or to be agreeable or to be generous. But on the backside of that, who wants to look at that they don't want to say no? Who wants to look at that they don't want to set boundaries, right? That's not fun shit to look at. So the purpose of shadow work is that we integrate, right? You know, the person that asked this question is a grad and is very well acquainted with Haven spell work procedure. So you know that when we are on the red line of magic, when we are in Rubedo magic and we are in surrender magic, when we get back to point 9, every time we go around the circle of a new spell, of a new intention, of a new goal, we cannot create anything new until we have integrated what we created before. How many of y'all know that girl? And I'm just going to pick on femmes because I am one, okay? How many of y'all know that girl that keeps dating the same dude in different bodies over and over and over and over and over? And not, we're not shaming, but you as the outside, you can see, okay, well, Craig and Jacob and Chad and Jonathan and Stefan and Walter are all the same dude. They all have the same traits. They all don't pay attention to you, or they all are entrepreneurs, or they all whatever, right? That is things showing up for you to look at. And if you don't integrate, you will keep going around the circle and it won't change. You can't create anything new. It's not until you integrate those lessons and go, oh my God, I am seeking out people that do XYZ. I am magnetizing people that have these behaviors. Maybe I should look at that. And you change. Guess what happens? Your results change. You change. We do the passive first and then the active. You change and then you call in your new partner, the partner that actually is different, the partner that is serving your goals and your intentions. You're able to co-create, you're able to whatever, right? So shadow work is a way to integrate. If you are somebody who consistently does this and like, I can't hear you, spirit, I can't see what's going on, I don't need to like look at my own shit, you're gonna have a real hard time. Not only like in life, but you will not enjoy Haven. I'll just tell you, you will not enjoy my school because I lovingly will not let you not look at those things. Doesn't mean we solve them, doesn't mean we dig, but I hold your hand and we look at it so that you know it's there. That's all it is. We just need to be aware of it. If we choose to work on it, we choose to work on it. That's on you. But I help you see what's there and I help you see how it's affecting your magic. If you don't know that you can't say no and you're like, why is everybody asking me things for all the time? And I look at you lovingly and say, when's the last time you said no? And you go, then you're on this journey of awareness. Do I want to look at that? Do I want to change that? Do I want to practice saying no? What would it mean about me if I was someone that could say no with no butthole pucker behind it, right? Like, what would that be like? Who would I be if I could do that? So then you practice, and then you become the person that's okay with saying no. And then guess what? The cycle of you saying yes and doing everything and being overwhelmed stops because you address the shadow. All I do is help you see it at Haven. If that's not something that you're into, or if you're like, don't fucking call me out lovingly on my shit, do not come to school with me. I'm telling you, I am not for you. Do not come to Haven. But if you are into shadow work, or if you're into looking at the hard parts so that you know they exist and that they don't sabotage your magic, might be something to check out. Benefits of shadow work, just thinking broadly, like you don't project on other people. You're not walking around with your own huge wounds. Do you have scars? Yeah. Have you lived through stuff? Yeah, but you're not actively hurting and bringing that active hurt to your relationships, to your magic. You've heard me say that how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if you are bringing that to your magic, you're bringing that to your partnerships, you're bringing that to your kids. If you have them, you're bringing them to you're the way that you love and nourish your body. You're bringing that to the way that you sleep, the way that you think about yourself, the activities that you partake in. It affects everything. Y'all know Haven students, our values affect everything. So you don't project as much on others. You're not walking around with open wounds when you are willing to look at your shadows, when you're willing to at least know they exist. Working on them is a whole other thing, but knowing they exist is the first step. This is intense work. That's why I don't walk people through them. I address them by looking at them. And if you choose to work through those shadows, you have resources through Haven to do that. We also refer a lot of people out to therapeutic support because it's intense work. I'm not, you guys know this, I've said this a ton in class, but to say it here, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a licensed therapeutic professional. It is important that if you need mental health support and help, not only do you reach out for help, we can get you connected, but that you don't use Haven or me as a replacement for any of that, right? If I have a question about like, hey, you might need some extra support, I'll reach out to you in a DM if you're at Haven. If you're not, and we connect, say you email me or something, I will let you know, hey, this is not something that magic is going to address first. I recommend going this route. And especially for shadow work, if someone is really knee deep in like, why can't I say no? Well, my mom couldn't ever say no. Da, da, da. Like that is a therapy conversation. I will support you to go to therapy to have access to that. But it's not something that we can get into ethically at Haven. Putting that in there for all the reasons. This is another reason why the inner work is required reading for all of our students, regardless of what class you're in. We have two books that are required. One of them is called The Inner Work. And it's by Ashley Cottrell and Matthew Micheletti. They're known as the yoga couple. You guys can look at them. I think it's like theinnerwork.com. But the reason why I assigned that book is because it's structured, it's practical, and it's an approach to walk through shadow work that's really accessible. Even if you're not maybe a hyper spiritual person, there is a lot of spiritual kind of teaching wrapped in there. Go in there with colander mind, take what works, leave what doesn't. But it's a good resource that helps you emphasize like self awareness, self knowledge, um, self led processing, right? You get to go at a pace that's comfortable for you and not be dragged through something, not be led through something on a quick timeline, right? That's why I don't always assign chapters of the inner work. Like you'll notice I'm not like, by next week, have this read, because I'm not going to assign you a timeline for your process. That doesn't make sense, but it is a resource that we rely on often because it's wonderful for that. So I hope that that was helpful. Let's go to this last question. Yeah, let's see. Hekate. Okay, this is from another. I thought all three of my mods leave questions today. This is about Hekate from a council grad, a current semester enrolling, and one of my mods. It says Hekate came to me very vividly in a dream last weekend after I asked Spirit to tell me who my goddess was. How is the best way? What is the best way to bring her into my practice? I did order a statue of her. Oh, I love this for you. I've been a devotee of Hekate for. Did you just see that orb? Did you just see that? I'll have to watch it on the replay. 46 minutes in, somebody timestamp it. Just watched it. Hekate is awesome. I've been a devotee of Hecate's for a number of years. I won't say how many because I don't know and I don't want to lie to you, but a number of years. For those of y'all that don't know, she is the goddess of witchcraft, the goddess of crossroads. She oversees dogs and frogs and keys and maiden mother crone. A lot of the triple goddess statues that you see are related to Hecate. She's phenomenal. She's like, we call her Goth Mommy or Mama H at Haven because she is very, very wrapped into our admin and our enrollment process, our curriculum decision, things like that. She guides our whole mod team. It's phenomenal. So if you didn't know, that's who she is. She's very associated with like liminal spaces, crossroads. So if you're a witch that practices crossings or uncrossings, you probably are familiar with Hecate. Traditional offerings, the ways to get to know her, like research. I know, so the person that asked this, I know you have the book of 5,000 spells. If I had it within arm's reach, I would go grab it, but it's on the other side of the room. In that, or 5,000 spirits, in the encyclopedia of 5,000 spirits, she's in there, and there's a lot of good information about her. But what I would start with is her basic correspondences. So things you know she likes. Same way that you want to get to know somebody that you're into, right? A friend or a partner or whoever, potential partner. You find out what they like. If you know that I love blackberry Dr. Pepper and you bring me a blackberry Dr. Pepper, I'm going to be happy, right? If you know that I love tarot and you show up with a tarot deck for me to look at, all smiles, right? So you want to, I'm not going to say the word bait because it's not baiting, but you want to present an offering, right? For her to connect with you. And she showed up in your dream, which is super cool. I love that. She's very good at answering the call. But I would start with an offering. You can do this with an altar. You can put a little plate out. You can actually take it if you want to a crossroads. Modern day crossroads, guys, that's stoplights, intersections, forks in the road, right? Like those are all intersections. Paths hiking paths that cross, those are all crossroads. They all count. So you can be as discreet or as rural or as urban, as out loud as you want. You can go drop your plate with your offering right in the middle. Be safe, on the cement, on a sidewalk at an intersection if that feels good for you. If you want to leave it up, foot of a tree at a crossroads in a park, that's also great, right? It can be whatever works for your environment, but crossroads are really important for happy time. Traditional offerings, things to leave: eggs, garlic, honey. She loves that. Pasta. If I ever make pasta with garlic in it, which is rare because I'm allergic to garlic, I will put that on a plate for her and leave it on her altar. She has her own altar in my room, just like my ancestors do. I have a separate altar for Hekate. Um, keys, like I said, she loves key shapes or skeleton keys. I actually think in my confetti jar, I have frogs and keys for her. Let's see if I can get this out. Oh my God. Okay, I have this huge jar that says haunted on it. And in here is a bunch of spell confetti. I make these and I use these to add energy into spell jars. So I have frogs in here for Hecate, tiny green frogs. Yeah, and I've also got keys so that I can add her energy into spell work. So eggs, honey, keys, bread she really loves, carbs. I mean, she's a goddess. Carbs, chocolate. She likes dark chocolate better than milk chocolate, but dark chocolate is, I mean, any chocolate is good, but dark chocolate is her favorite. Usually I will leave her a square of dark chocolate and some whiskey and garlic pasta on the night before the new moon, which is her feast known as Dipnon. Um, I'll start putting reminders for that in the Haven chat. I haven't done that in a minute, but I'll do that. Hecate is most easily petitioned at night. So if you want to work with her, I recommend asking her for help at night. It's not surprising to me that she came to you in a dream because nighttime, right? You're sleeping, you're offline. So I think asking her initial things, having conversations with her, aim for the evening. She is not a morning person. She's an evening, nighttime goddess. She loves the night. Let her have her night and connect with her in the evening. Or in the early morning when it's still dark. Your statue, I'm looking at your comment again. Statue that you got is great. You can have that on your altar. Um, most deities honestly love when we learn about them. Most deities love being studied, right? I mean, shit, look at Jesus, right? He's an ascended master, maybe not a deity, depending on your version. I'm not here to debate, but the dude has a lot of books written about him, right? Like Jesus of Nazareth as the historical character, as the ascended master. There's a lot of texts. There's concordances. There's scholars. There degrees about this stuff, right? So they love being studied. Hecate loves being learned about. She loves being she loves the attention. She's a goddess. Why wouldn't she? Right? Oh, they're reading about me. Of course they are. Right? She gets so lit up. She's a happy mom and she wants to be connected to you. And think of her as like a mama witch. She's phenomenal. I love her. I'm a little bit biased, but she's an easy guide to connect to, especially if you're at Haven. Um, she already knows about you if you're at Haven because she picked you to be there. So she already is familiar. If you reach out to her and you're part of Haven, expect a quick hello because it's not going to be, it might be a new first time connection for you. She already knows who you are because you're at school. But yeah, start simple. I would say like offer food, put it on a plate, bring it to a crossroads, put it on her altar. Her favorite colors are red and black and silver. That's why the bell I showed you guys last night at semester is red and black. That usually lives on my Hecate altar. But yeah, operate in ways that help you learn more about her. And I would say put out things that you know she likes, just like I did with St. Expedite and the pound cake, right? Put out things that you know she likes. She will have a natural magnetism to come see you, to come hang out, chat. Um, but knowing who asked this and your ability to nap, I bet you she will talk to you the most through your dreams. I bet you will get signs through your dreams from her. She's phenomenal. But yeah, look for frogs, keys, dogs, um, the moon, crossroads, her Hecate spiral. She has like it's not actually a spiral. It's like it looks like almost like a maze. It's called the Hecatean spiral. That's one of her like it's not a sigil, kind of is a sigil, but it's like her emblem, her mark almost. You can look at that too. Pretty cool. She's got a lot of folklore, a lot of information is available about her because she's been pretty widely studied, which is also a little bit of an ego stroke for her. I think she loves. But yeah, if you're at Haven, do not be stressed out about meeting her or about connecting or reaching out because she already knows who you are. Let me look at the chat really quick. Let's see. Oh my gosh, Finn's here. Your face was on my Discord. What's up, dude? So good to see you. Uh yeah, okay, so I'm seeing pomegranates. Yeah, pomegranates are sacred to Hecate too. Thank you for the reminder. That's true. Um, let's see. I was always afraid of Hecate. Yeah, pomegranates are Persephone too, but yeah, also Hecate for sure. I was always afraid of Hecate. I get that. She can be scary. I mean, if you saw her walking down the street, you'd either be like, who is that goth queen? Who is that? She's like Miranda Priestley vibes. For those of you who have seen Devil Wears Prada, she is like, yeah, she's like queen, goddess, witch mother. Like, I want to be her when I grow up. No lie. Fucking awesome. She's so cool that it's easy to be intimidated. But the cool thing is, she already knows who you are and she thinks you're awesome. So you don't have to stress about it. She's on your team. You don't want her not on your team. She's like Lilith. She's got a problem with you, you better run. And then Finn put in the notes or in the chat, there's a book, thank you, Finn, by Pagan Portals called Hekate by Iris Anya Moon. Iris Anya is a phenomenal human, part of my coven here locally. For those of you who are students, you know about reclaiming. We talk a lot about that at Haven. And that is somebody, Iris Anya is part of reclaiming and does a lot to educate a lot around reclaiming tradition and lots of pieces of magic. So definitely go check that out. I should add that book to our book list too, Finn, so I'll do that. Um, Thank you for putting that in there. Let's see. Okay, last question because we have 4 minutes. Can I add rusted nails to my sour jar towards my person to throw nasty blocks toward the legal action towards me? I still have not won the battle. I have been cautious about adding to the sour jar. Same question as I asked you before, babe. Have you tried the advice I gave you before? Did it not work? Because what I'll say is when we talked about this a few weeks ago at the end of council, like end of July, I mentioned that it would be important for you to first regulate and then second to look at your point five and your your point five and your point one. Because what you're seeing when you're looking at point seven, if you're in semester, we'll cover this next week. This is not going to make sense and it's okay. So for the person that asked this, look at the evidence of your spell. I'll say it a different way so everybody can benefit from this. Look at the evidence of your spell. What are you seeing or not seeing? What are you seeing or not seeing that's giving you alarm? Is it just your anxiety? Because remember, when we do spell work at point six, when we are actively creating our spell, it has to be about something bigger than you. It can't be about you. It has to be about something bigger than you. If it's only serving you, it won't manifest because spells take sacrifice. So I would look at your presentation, look at your point seven. What are you seeing as your spell is ongoing? Or what are you not seeing? And then remember, when we look at our spell plan, you need to look at the two places connected to that point. So when you're looking at seven, the two places connected are what you did and what your intention is, right? Five and one. So what did you do? Go back in your spell procedure. Did I miss anything? Am I seeing something like he's calling me now and I put in no contact? So I need to address that. Or he's not talking to me and maybe I thought I want no contact. Now I need to adjust that because I actually do need to hear from him, right? Look at what you did and look at your intention in conjunction with what you're seeing right now. And I would also just evaluate, is this coming from anxiety? Has it been long enough? This is your sour jar from the beginning of council, right? Do I remember that right? Yeah, okay. So this is from the beginning of June. I think it's been long enough where if you're not seeing the progress that you want to see, that's exactly what I would do. Like note what you're not seeing, be specific. Go back and look at your point five, look at your point one. What did you do? What was your procedure? What was your original intention? And then I would remap it, do another one. I wouldn't even add to that one, let it percolate, let it sit, let it do its thing. It might just be taking its time. You can do another one to fortify the existing energy, but make that one more specific about what you want the additions to be, right? So let the original intention still be there. You don't need to dismantle it. But yeah, if you want to add rusted nails or war water or whatever to the second one, for sure, do yourself a solid and be efficient by reviewing your notes from the last one first before you plan and then execute the next one. Because I don't want you to have to keep wondering, like, okay, well, what next, what next, what next? There's a way to figure that out. You just gotta make sure that you have the data from your prior iterations. This is why we write everything down, right? Yeah. Bueno. All right. 11 o'clock on the dot. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you for being here. Happy Q&A Wednesday. I will have the replay out for you in the next 24 hours via email. And otherwise, I love y'all and I will see you next week. Thank you for being here.